Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So there's so much to talk about here. There is a gigantic EW article that just came out. There's so much to break down from this. Like, I'm gonna have to focus on a few things over a couple of videos just because there's a lot of stuff regarding the Rick Grimes and Michonne Grimes television show. And not even that, there was an interesting comment that Gimple made that I kind of laughed at. I mean, obviously it's not confirmation at all. Angela Kang and Scott Gimple were actually asked, like, is there a chance that we might see Rick and Michonne before the spin-off series airing next year, right? And Angela Kang laughed and she's like, I can't answer that question, but I appreciate you asking. And then Gimple just said, like, he smiled right away and he's like, I'd never tell you that in a million years. So who knows, right? Like, who actually knows? I personally don't see it happening because I think, you know, I think you want to save the reveal for the thing, but it depends on how they do it, right? Like, it really depends on the scene and just what happens. And there's some more stuff here in the last episodes. There's some really great stuff here. There's actually some really great stuff on The Walking Dead Dead City that I really want to talk about, because a lot of people like to say things about The Walking Dead, like, well, you know, the story is just sort of whatever. Is the show still on? This and that. Jeffrey Dean Morgan actually said that, like, he couldn't say no to the story. Like, you know, he said that it would have been so noble for us to, like, end The Walking Dead right here, like, you know, end our stories here and then that's it. But once he got the script and he heard of this story, he literally could not say no to it. He's like, it's just so good. And that's what's exciting about it, is that you have people that want to come back. And I think that's the most important thing that I think fans need to hear, is that these actors and actresses want to come back. Like, they want to. They love The Walking Dead. There's a very compelling story here with these spinoffs. And so I do actually really want to focus on one aspect to this, because it was kind of shocking. So again, I'll talk about, I guess, Dead City. I'll talk about the Rick and Michonne television show. I'll talk about some of the stuff with the Walking Dead last episodes, but I want to, in this video, focus on the Daryl spinoff and some comments that were actually made here. And yeah, so anyways, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this. The show is returning in like 24 days, I guess, depending on when this video is released, because sometimes I release the videos a day later. So sometimes if I do say that, I mean, I try to have the videos released on the same day if I'm doing sort of a countdown. But I know in one of my videos I think I released it today, I said it was 25 days. Actually, I think even in my Q&A video, I said 24 days because I recorded it earlier this morning, but that Q&A might not come out until tomorrow or the day after. So things like that you might just have to ignore, but for the most part I try to stay on top of that. But yeah, I mean, right now this is why this big article came out. The hype is here. The marketing is going to really start to pick up right away, because again, it's coming in like 3.5 weeks. Like, the final season's just around the corner. I mean, really, I think they're just kind of waiting for Tales of the Walking Dead to end, which it is ending in a couple days, right? In 3 days. So expect a lot of promotion next week. Definitely expect a lot of stuff next week. But let's actually talk about this here. So obviously the big question about Daryl going to France was sort of like, why and how? Why does he get there? And for me, I always assumed that it was going to be something Rick related. And I do think it's still going to be Rick related. It does seem like it's going to be that, just because of how it happens. But Norman Reedus, and I believe someone from AMC as well, actually talked about this. And here, I'll read these quotes here. I'll leave a link to the article down below. I really recommend checking it out. It's a very long read, but man, after reading that article, you're going to be so hyped here for the final season. I really cannot wait for, like, I don't know, I didn't even finish the whole article. There's still a bunch of stuff at the bottom there that after I'm done this video, or done these couple of videos, I'm going to go over that. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. But I guess to get into the quote here from, I guess, EW, some of those detours have already begun. Reedus has been living over in France for production in his Daryl spinoff, a series that changed directions multiple times over the course of more than a year, according to the Star. We knew we wanted to make a show that went in the opposite direction, just because we didn't want to do the same thing, and it's going to be way different. The story's way different. The characters are way different. There's a different tone. There's different light. There's a different sound. It's a whole different vibe. This is going to be effing epic. So first of all, he's been living in France already, so that's really cool, because obviously they're doing production and whatnot for this show, which means that they're likely going to be filming very soon. I mean, the rumor was September, so over the next month, I could totally see them beginning filming. So that I really liked there. I wanted to include this quote just because I thought it was kind of cool that they said that the story is overall going to be different. And I think that's definitely really smart. You do want to change it. You definitely want to change some of the tones here for some of these shows here. You still want to keep it feeling like The Walking Dead, I think, but you do want to sort of change its purpose a little bit. Just kind of give something a little more fresh, right? Like, I think with The Walking Dead Dead City, that's something that's going to be very fresh, because apparently there's going to be 2 million walkers, not 1 million like I originally said. There's actually going to be like 2 million walkers or something in the streets of New York and Manhattan. Visually, it's going to be so different. How they transport is going to be so different. A lot of that story is going to be a lot of fun. So I think, obviously, for the Daryl show, you want to do something like that. And I think that's why they're kind of saying it here, because they don't want that criticism of like, oh, you're going to keep doing the same old thing, just like a bunch of characters in the woods. Like, that's why they have to sort of come out of their way and say this, just because a lot of people will start to say that right away, right? But there's another quote here that I want to read from the article, and it's the last one. It says, as for the new show's plot, the location of the action indicates a connection to the end credits scene from the World Beyond finale, in which a scientist in an abandoned French lab was shot after watching videos from Dr. Edwin Jenner about tests being done on variant walkers. What are these tests, and what exactly was happening in this French lab, and by whom? Whether these questions will be answered in the spin-off remains to be seen, but McDermott drops a few hints as to the general story, saying that the series will follow Daryl as he wakes up and finds himself somewhere on the European continent and tries to piece together what happened. How did he get here? How's he going to get home? This right here, I absolutely love. This is actually, I think this is something that I think makes the most sense, because there is always something so weird about the idea that he just like went to France to look for Rick, right? Because we know Rick's not going to be over there. So there was always something so weird about it all. Like, oh, he's just going to go to France and just like, yeah, like, how is he going to get there kind of thing. And so the fact that he's going to wake up there and he's wondering what the hell happened, I actually really like that for a mystery for the first season. Like, how did he get here? And so we're going to learn what happened. And so obviously when you see something like this, I mean, first of all, there's going to be variant walkers there. They're going to be running and all that. So Daryl's going to be dealing with a lot, meeting some new characters, being in a new location. It's going to be really cool. But obviously the big question is, how does this connect to the ending of his story for the final season? In the final season here, or the last episodes here, does he get kidnapped? Is that sort of how his character's story ends? I mean, I really don't see that being the case. The only thing I can really see, because I mean, first of all, he's going to find out Rick's alive. I think to not showcase that at all would be so insane. Like, it would actually be really insane to not showcase that at all. I think you need to show the fact that, Daryl is going to find out that he's alive, because that's really the main point of the spinoffs and what's happening with all of that. So like, the prediction I have right now is I don't think he's going to be captured at the end of The Walking Dead. I think it would be a little too much, just because like, really, you're going to end the story like that, like he's just sort of captured. I think what's likely going to happen is maybe there's a post-credit scene where he finds something out about Rick or something, then he's captured, and then that's sort of the tease. But like, how many post-credit scenes are you going to have? Because you got to tease The Walking Dead Dead City, there's a Rick and Michonne television series. So like, I don't know what you're planning to do there. What I think the last shot of Daryl is going to be is basically like, the story sort of ends in a way where things are a lot more peaceful. I think he's basically going to say goodbye to Judith and say, I have to go look for your dad. Like, I'm going to go out and go look for him. And I think he's going to have another location to go and look for. I don't think it's going to be France at all. I think there's going to be another place where maybe he actually gets really close to Rick. And so maybe we see that in the first episode, right? Maybe the first season isn't like fully in France. Maybe in the very beginning of the first episode, maybe the first 20 minutes or something like that, he's at a different location in the United States. He's getting closer to Rick. We see something like that. And then something happens where he wakes up. I mean, it really depends, because again, that could be the mystery for the season. Like, the show could just open up with him in France and not really remembering what happened. And then, we slowly get some reveals here and there. And then by the season 1 finale, we sort of learn how he got there. And then what's happening next kind of thing with, there could be some connections to the Rick show, this and that. And I wonder if Jadis was the reason. Honestly, I really wonder if Jadis was the reason, because like, Jadis in the Civic Republic, they're obviously like, we don't have the confirmation, but I feel like it's kind of confirmed already because of some stuff with the phone and all that. I think that Jadis and the Civic Republic are keeping tabs on Alexandria and everything that's going on there. And so I think they see Daryl and they find out that Daryl knows that where Rick is and all this. And I think that's why Jadis probably is like, no, Daryl, like, that guy's dangerous. You need to get him away from Rick. And so I think she might be the one that comes up with the idea to literally take him away to France. And it would be really interesting. I could totally see Jadis being another character, because you got to remember, Norman Reedus said that there's some missing characters out there, and so maybe he runs into one or two of them. that could be Jadis, because obviously it's not going to be Rick or Michonne, not right away, definitely not right away. And also, I don't see them leaving their show for Daryl's show. It's probably going to be the other way around. So I kind of see this being Jadis related, in my opinion. But this was just super surprising. Honestly, this was just super surprising. Like, to get that confirmation there that he just wakes up there, I'm actually a much bigger fan of that, because I didn't want to see him just like go on a boat or just like, I don't know, somehow go over there because he's searching for Rick. Like, I was kind of okay with it because I wanted to see how they were going to do it, but it just felt so off. Like, just the idea of Daryl going on a boat to travel there, right? It just feels so weird because it's like, well, how does he know to do that? How does he know to go and find a boat and like, you know what I mean? There's so many things there where I'm like, why would he just go to France? Like, why would he? I mean, obviously he would go anywhere for Rick. There was just something a little bit off there, but if it wasn't by his own choice, it makes a lot more sense. So I do think he's going to go somewhere where he actually probably almost finds Rick and then he's taken away. I think that's going to be sort of the reason here. And then we just kind of have to know the plot of what's going on over there. Because obviously there's going to be some connection here. There's going to be some newer stuff that they're going to do. But I want to know the overall plot of what the show is going to be about. But obviously they're going to be filming that very, very soon here. So I imagine there's going to be some stuff that's going to start to come out. I mean, with Dead City, we still don't know everything about that show, right? Like, it kind of feels like we know that they're in New York, but we don't know why. There's so many whys. There's so many questions that we have there, right? Or not so many whys, but there's so many questions that we have. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. So definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.